Hey everybody, this is Todd Hazelton with MobileBird.com. Today we're checking out the Motorola CLIQ XT with Moto Blur, latest phone from T-Mobile that sports the Moto Blur interface, and it's the second one. This follows the Motorola CLIQ that launched not too long ago. Alright, we'll do a quick unboxing here. Right on the cover here you can see it's central, focus around social networking. So you have Google Talk, MySpace, Last.fm, Yahoo, Facebook, and Twitter. And a quick glance of what Moto Blur looks like, but we'll get into that a little bit later. T-Mobile phone. On the back here you can see sort of Moto Blur from Motorola. That's what we just went over really briefly there, and I'll get into a bit later. It's pulling in your social networks. This runs the Android platform. This is running Android 1.5, not 1.6. That means you miss out on a couple new features like free Google Maps navigation beta. That's available on the Devour on Verizon Wireless, as well as on the Droid on Verizon Wireless. And Motorola hopefully will update this. They've said they'll update the CLIQ, so it'd be weird if they didn't update this one as well with newer operating systems to support that. Anyhow, you also have 3G, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth connectivity. Virtual keyboard with swipe technology. We'll get into that in a bit, but we've seen it before on the Omnia 2, and there's a beta version out right now for other Android devices. Real web browsing. That means that you're going to get flashlight support in the web browser, and I believe it's for Flash 8.1, not quite the 10.1, I believe, Flash support that you're looking for these days, but not too bad anyhow. 3.1 multi-touch screen, 3.1 inch multi-touch screen rather, 5 megapixel camera with LED flash. That's an improvement over the original CLIQ that just had a 5 megapixel camera with autofocus, but no LED flash. Music and video, email as you'd expect from a smartphone. Let's get started with the unboxing now. Here's the CLIQ XT. We'll get back to this in a little bit. First we'll cover what's inside the box. A start guide. So cover everything from the application tray from Android, if you've never used Android before, to your widgets, covering the Happenings widget. I'll touch on that in a bit. Audio postcards, visual voicemail. Good start guide for people that have never used Android before. Recommend you read something like this ahead of time. Charging port. This obviously takes the USB 2.0 cord, plugs in your wall like so. Great for portability. Here's the cord. Micro USB, standard these days, USB 2.0. Just to go over that really quick, plugs in just like that. So you can plug it into your wall, and when you need to plug it into your computer, just unplug it, sync it up. 3.5mm headphone jack. You can see there's a microphone there, so that means you can take calls while you're listening to music. Here's a second rear panel. It's a purple colored one with a little Motorola logo here. Means you can replace the sort of matte black textured finish one here with this custom one, although it feels a little plasticky, chintzier, as opposed to this one has a little texture, but nonetheless. Moving on, swipe. CLIQ XT uses swipe keyboard. It's an option. You can actually swipe your finger along the letters and it identifies words for you. We'll get into that once I boot it up. A little bit of an advertisement here. You can register it with your phone. Terms and conditions, return policy, limited warranty. This will go over your early termination fee, stuff like that involves your T-Mobile contract, as well as safety, regulatory, and legal information about your new Motorola CLIQ XT. And of course, the T-Mobile cell phone recycling program packaging. Send your old phone back. You're not going to use it, or give it to a friend that needs one. So send it. Just put your phone in there and mail it away. Perfect. Alright, let's take a look at the phone itself. Okay, before we get the phone booted up, let's just quickly look over its external features. Here you can see the front. We have a large 3.1 inch display. It's a 480 by 320 pixel resolution. Looks pretty sharp. I booted up a little bit earlier and I thought it looked pretty good, especially under sunlight. It seemed to be bright enough so far, but I'll touch on that more in my review. Right below that you have your menu key, a search button that works in most menus, home key to quickly return to the home screen, and a return key. This is a new optical pad. It's both good and bad. It's good for selecting links if you need to, small ones on home pages, or websites rather, but not necessarily great for those Android gamers out there if you want a 5-way directional pad for your NES or SNES emulators or any of the games in the Android market. It's not that great for it because you really have to swipe instead of click up and down, left and right. But to each his own, so if you're not worried about that, then it is a good way of navigating around the phone. Otherwise, of course, there's always the touchscreen to move around. Go around the device. We have the volume keys here. This is up and down. Nice silver look. Micro USB hatch here, or port rather, for charging. You have your 3.5mm headphone jack on the top of the phone. Here we have the power key, and you can hold that down and actually lock it as well. And your camera quick launch button. On the bottom of the phone, this is a little button that you're supposed to push to remove the battery cover. I did that before filming here and found that it was actually rather hard to do and required a paper clip. And so I'm not going to do it on camera, but a little frustrating, not as easy as the sliding mechanisms of most phones where you just quickly slide the cover up or down. And of course on the back, as I've already touched on, is the 5-megapixel camera, flash, and this replaceable cover. Alright, let's get the phone booted up and check out the operating system. Okay, here we're looking at the home screen. This is what Motorola calls Moto Blur. This provides you with 5 different screens to customize. You can see them swiping at the top there. You can see which screen I'm looking at across all 5. Now, what is Moto Blur? Moto Blur is a focus on social networking. So you have Twitter here. This is a Twitter update. Here's my most recent Twitter update, messages. It brings all of these things together into one inbox, into an easy to find view on your home screen. So I can click this right here. This brings up happenings. You can quickly swipe through messages, but the best way to do this is to click happenings here, view a long list of updates. But that's not all that Click is about, or Moto Blur rather. If you go into your messaging, you can see a universal inbox, and this combines everything from Facebook messages to, it was my birthday recently, you can see that, to Twitter messages, Facebook messages, everything. That's what Moto Blur's main focus is bring everything easy, quick to the home screen. That's not it. This phone makes a number of improvements over the original Click. For one, it comes with Slacker radio. Big fan of Slacker radio. But it also comes with, I'll show you 2 keyboards. Here's the first keyboard. A little better than the Android standard one. So here I'm just writing up top. You can see it's just tap to type there. But if I go back home, launch the menu again, you see a little bit of sluggishness there. Locale and text, input method. Now if I switch it to swipe, I actually type messages like this. Hey, how are you? Very cool way to input text. I've done this before. I'm pretty familiar with swipe, but I highly recommend it. It's a very fun and intuitive way to enter text. If it doesn't recognize a word, you sort of tap it out and add it, and it'll recognize it next time. So very cool. There, that's swipe. There's a couple other things I want to show you before we wrap this up. One, the new music player. So we can just bring it up here. Okay, this is called the connected music player. Now what this is we have a demo actually on Mobile Burn already, but what this does is it'll bring your music just like Android normally would, but in a new interface. You have albums, artists, songs, whatnot, FM radio, which is great, shoutcast streaming radio from the internet. You can search music videos directly from YouTube, a very compelling feature to have if you A lot of us just like to watch movies instead while you're riding the train or something, as opposed to listening to music, entertaining. GoTV channels, your own video library, etc. Music maps that shows what people are listening to with Shoutcast Online, TuneWiki charts, and so you can stream music and have the lyrics actually come in while you're playing music. A very cool feature that's free, which is nice, and it also has this song identification feature, which is sort of like Shazam on the iPhone. I guess I'll go over quickly for you. Moto Blur accounts. You can add accounts. Here are my standard ones, but you can also add a Last.fm account, another email account. This is for like Pop or IMAP, because unfortunately, as it's part of Android 1.5, you can only have one Gmail account. So to add anything else, you'd need a Pop or IMAP or a corporate sync account, which would be Exchange. Now you have Picasa, PhotoBucket, Yahoo Mail, MySpace. But as you can see, I just have Facebook, Google, Twitter set up right now. Another new feature here, really quick. If you want to dial by contact, now I don't have very many contacts in here just yet, but on the previous click, you'd have to actually pull out the keyboard to start typing here, and now they actually pull up the software keyboard for you, so you can search by contact quicker. Previously, I used to prefer to use the social tool here, my whole address book, and create different profiles, so I would have favorites, etc. Okay, so that's a quick rundown of the Motorola CLIQ XT for T-Mobile. It's going to be available in March. Pricing is not yet announced, but we look forward to bringing you a full review. This is Todd Hazelton with MobileBurn.com.